Hello? Good morning. Awesome. I have a big mouth, but I don't want to have to yell this morning because we're going to be here a while this morning, just so you know. So I brought my hula hoop, got a snack for later. Let's see, what else I got? Oh, I got something to drink here for later. It's going to be good. So, because it's raining today, guess what? We got all day. You can't go home and grill. Well, somebody grills in the rain. Sometimes I do. You can't go and thank you, sir. That's my hero there. You can't go and play golf because it's raining, unless you're one of them die-hard golfers, and that's not me. If it's cold, too hot, or rainy, I don't play golf. So what's that tell you? I don't play golf very much. So that's just the truth. But hey, if you notice when you pulled in this morning, down on the sign, you've seen we're in a new series. I want to welcome y'all here today for this series. It's God Questions. You know, and over the next 4 weeks, we're going to provide you with real answers about some of the questions people ask about God. You know, these answers will be simple, straightforward, based on fact and logic and biblical truth. You know, I think during this series, we're all going to learn something. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to what we may learn. But, you know, the obvious question that we have to ask first, of course, is God real? I mean, really, have you ever contemplated that? Thought about, is God real? Because if He's not real, there's no use answering any other questions, is there? Just might as well pack up and go home. But what I want you to do now is turn to Psalms chapter 19. Psalms 19, we're going to start in there. And this is a poem, a song lyric that King David of Israel wrote about 1000 B.C. And see, David was born a long, long time ago, but he was one of the wisest and smartest men that ever walked this earth. He was a victorious general. He was a king that led his country to economic prosperity. And here's something most of you may not realize what was going on in history at that time. He led his country from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age. That's a big deal. You know, you have to be a smart man to do that kind of stuff. He was innovative. He was a man's man and a man after God's own heart. Now, hopefully you found your way to Psalms 19. We're going to be in verse 1. And I want you to read this out loud with me. I want you to read it out loud. It's going to be on the screen behind me. On the count of 3, we're going to read it out loud. But the reason I want you to read it out loud because I want it to resonate in your head. I want it to be in there as I speak today. So on the count of 3, we'll read it out loud. 1, 2, 3. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands. Amen. And what David is saying here in this verse is, look around you. Everywhere you look, you see God. The universe is stocked full of pointers that point to God's existence. But I want to encourage you too, because every one of us, at one time or another in our life, through trials and tribulations, have doubted the existence of God. Have we not? Have you ever been in that place where you're so desperate for something to change? You're so desperate to get out of the situation you're in that you doubt God's existence. I mean, it's unfortunately, that's just what we do, and it's the nature of faith. We have to remember that. It's the nature of faith to doubt God's existence sometimes. In Hebrews 11:1, it says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Because if we could see it, it wouldn't be faith, would it? You know, all of our life is built on faith, is it not? You know, you put your money in the stock market, you know, expressing faith that you're not going to lose your money and you're going to make money, don't you? You have a job, and when you have a job, you're expressing faith that they're going to pay you, either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, or however it is you get paid. You get married believing you're going to live happily ever after. Boy, was that a joke. She's not. Is my wife in here? I don't think so. That's good. That's good she's not. I won't get in trouble. But really, you put your faith in that. And you got up this morning believing that there would be enough air for you to breathe so you could make it through the day. Did you not? there are no guarantees in life, just expressions of faith. But that doesn't mean that we have to experience faith blindly. You know, we invest in the stock market after we've spent time reading about these different companies we want to invest in, making sure that they are producing like we think they should produce, don't we? You know, we go to a job interview making sure that the place where we think we want to work lines up with us and we're going to get along and it's going to be the right place for us, don't we? And we get married after we spend time with that certain someone that we believe that, you know, he or she is the one for us. And we believe there's enough air because there was enough air yesterday for us to breathe, and the day before, and the day before that. Our faith is based on reasoning and facts and prior experiences, is it not? Y'all can shake your head. Yes, there you go. God set it up this way. He really did, because what it says there in the verse, it says, look at the stars, the heavens declare the glory of God. God's telling us, here I am. Look around you. I'm right here. All you got to do is look, and you'll see me. And that brings me to the first point today that points to the existence of God. And that's the existence of stuff. I call it stuff and things. It's the existence of stuff. You know, stuff not only happens, it exists, which creates a huge problems for atheists. You ever think about that? Because as long as something doesn't exist, you haven't proven that it's there, you don't have to explain it. But the moment you acknowledge something and you say that it's real and that it's there, you have to explain it. And they don't like doing that very much. See, the universe does exist. It's real. It's alive. You know, we see it, we feel it, we hear it, we smell it. You know, so where did it come from? Well, here's a principle that we all understand intuitively, and that is the nature of cause and effect. You know, for every effect, there has to be a cause. You know, I'm wearing a watch. It's not a real expensive watch, but I like it. It's my watch. I got up this morning. How did this watch get on my wrist? Well, I got up, got dressed, went over to my dresser and said, hey, there's my watch. Picked it up and I put it on. Then I looked at it. Well, it's got little numbers and symbols around the face of it. How did those get on there? Well, someone had to put them on there. Did they not? Cause and effect. Do you agree with that? Okay. Now, the second point that I want to make that points to the nature of God is the nature of stuff. The nature of stuff. And more specifically, the nature of the universe. See, the universe is huge. It's complex. It's this marvelous and well-organized place. You know, since it exists, we must explain where it come from. Do we not? You know, one possible explanation for the universe is it just happened. It was just there. It was self-created. But, you know, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not logical, is it? That it's just self-created, because scientists who are a whole lot smarter than me have discovered different things in the universe, and they tell us that just about everything in the universe is contingent on something else. And what that word contingent means is dependent on other things in order to exist. You know, take a tree, for example. A tree, it needs air, it needs water, it needs sunlight, does it not? And it needs dirt to grow in. That tree is contingent on all of these things in order to exist. Okay, here's something else. Let's do something closer to home. How many of y'all are Panther fans? Come on, don't be ashamed. Just because you're a Panther fan, don't be ashamed. All right. I'm not, but that's okay. They're okay. But anyway, Panthers, take the Panthers, the players. In order for the Panthers to exist, they got to have players, do they not? All right? They got to have a league to play in. They got to have an owner that pays them, right? They got to have a field to play on, right? They have to have fans. Y'all are the fans. Fans that buy the tickets in order so the owner can pay the league and the players so that y'all can go watch them, even though they let us down sometimes. I won't lie, I do pull for the Panthers sometimes. But the Panthers are only exist because of all of these things. They are contingent on all of these other things to exist, are they not? So let's take the earth, for example. The earth needs the sun, which is not out today. It's raining. Thank you, Jesus. The pollen is gone. Come on now. That's good stuff. I'm on just a little side note. Y'all know Chris Bowers. I called him yesterday, and he answers the phone. And he goes, "Hey, man, what's up?" I'm like, "Dude, what is wrong with you?" "I'm out working in my yard." It's that pollen, man. It'll get you every time. But anyway, the earth needs the sun needs the solar system and gravity, and a whole host of photo and electrical chemical reactions in order for it to exist, does it not? Nothing we observe around us seems to be absolutely self-reliant or self-caused. In fact, it's easier to conclude that everything around us that exists in time will probably waste away, will it not? Everything around us is dying. It's rotting. I have a 1996 GMC pickup truck. Well, actually, I traded it for a Honda, but I used to have one. And the paint was peeling on it. The clear was peeling on it because it was getting old. It was dying. It was rotting. So I had it repainted and re-cleared. You know, we have to do that. Everything around you is rotting and dying. So if everything we observe is dependent on something else and not independent or self-causing, the principle of dependency leads us to believe that if all that exists is dependent, fragile, temporary, and dying, who or what is responsible for all of these dependent objects and beings? Let me ask you to do something real quick. Okay? I want you to just imagine in your mind that you're outside of the solar system, outside the universe. Have you ever been to one of those IMAX theaters where they zoom out from the universe? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, we went to one in D.C. So you zoom out from the universe. You're way out there, and you're looking at the universe, and you draw a circle around the universe. Here's your circle. Here, we'll make it. Look at that. There's the universe. See, it's flashing. Okay, everything is fitting inside this universe, the solar system, the planets, the black holes, the comets, the stars, everything, streaking it down to fit right inside here. You got that? Raise your hand if you have an imagination. Oh, there's a few of you. Good. Most of you. All right. The rest of you are analytical. That's my wife. Very analytical. All right. Now, just imagine that. We're zoomed way out. Now, as we've already concluded, that everything inside this circle, everything in here, right, is relying on something else, right? Everything inside this circle is relying on something else. And we also, because of that, we have to conclude that the second law of thermodynamics and the law of entropy, that everything inside here is dying. It's going away, right? Y'all understand that? You see that, right? So the big question today is, everything in here is relying on something else. Is what caused all of this inside here, or is it outside the circle? Think about it. Is it in here or out here? I mean, what really makes sense to you? I mean, have you ever thought about that? What's really makes sense? If everything inside the circle is fragile, dependent, and reliant on other objects to exist, I mean, the only reasonable conclusion can be that it had to be something outside the circle that caused it. You agree? You can shake your head or throw rocks or something. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the only logical explanation. Would not a person that thinks sensible come up with a conclusion like that? I think so, because anything different would go against the laws of nature, would it not? Because remember, everything dies. Seriously? I mean, really, it does. Everything dies. Everything around you dies. I mean, just look at it. And which would mean that something outside this circle had had to create it, so it had to be something that was self-caused, something that was self-reliant, something eternal, something powerful. Does that make sense? I mean, really, it makes a lot of sense to me. And like we've already read in Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands. You see what God's saying here? I mean, do you see that? It's right there in front of us. He's saying, here I am. Open up your eyes. Everything around you points to me. You know, let's take it one more step, okay? Instead of looking at the big picture of the universe and everything, let's look at a couple of smaller pictures. Let's take this Pepsi can, for example. How many of y'all like Pepsi? There's a few. My wife was addicted to Pepsi at one time. We'd go through like 50 gallons a week. Not really, but she drank a lot of Pepsi. You know, have you ever wondered how this can was created and the substance inside? Have you ever wondered about that? Well, I'm going to tell you. Millions and millions and millions and millions of years ago, there was a big bang, right? Out of nothing and nowhere. And this huge rock was tumbling through space. And all of a sudden, it started creating on the surface of it this really sweet brown liquid, right? And as it continued to hurl through space, out of this primordial ooze, aluminum came out and formed around the liquid, and it made a can. So here's what happened. This can, if you look at it, is the perfect shape for a human hand. Have you noticed that? But centuries and centuries go by, and all of a sudden, it starts getting a wrinkle in the top of the can, right in the center. And look, it forms a tab, a pull tab for easy opening, right there on top. And then, as time goes by and goes by, all of a sudden, red, white, and blue paint come falling out of the sky and adhered itself to this aluminum can. And then they form these letters on the front of the can, P-E-P-S-I. Well, these letters must be very important. I mean, they're from the primordial ooze of all creation. They have to be important because someone says, it's the right one, baby. It says, it's the choice for a new generation. This has to be important. This Pepsi. You know, and the really cool part about it, if you look here on the side, out of this primary mortal ooze, also, they put a trademark symbol right there. Is that not cool? You know, it's really easy to see that this didn't come out of a rock. You know, it's, in fact, you know, it's plain to see that, you know, it does fit perfectly in my hand, and it's got an easy opening top. And the liquid inside of it's very sweet, and some people really like it. I don't really like it. I prefer Mountain Dew because it has less caffeine in it. But, no. But, you know, it just has the right amount of caffeine to give you a little pep if you need it, but not enough to throw you into a coma from caffeine, does it? In fact, it's consistent. Everything in this can is consistent all the time. Every time you open it, you know it's Pepsi. It's not going to really change. My conclusion is some very smart people came up with how to make an aluminum can and the easy opening top and come up with a formula inside of it. But, you know, it's only reasonable to be able to reconstruct certain attributes of a designer if you look at his design. Is it not? Let's take a banana. How many of y'all like bananas? Come on now. Them's good. They're okay here in the States, but for those of us who have been to Haiti, bananas are off the chain. They don't even taste the same. They're so good. But anyway, let's look at a banana. The far side of the banana, it has 3 ridges. You see that? The close side, it has 2 ridges. And usually, this is because the way this banana was created, the creator of the banana, you know, is a little different than the creator of the Pepsi. The creator of the banana is really innovative and he likes variety. You know, he really does love variety. You know, he doesn't settle for cookie cutter. You know, this is cookie cutter. Every Pepsi you get is the same. Every one of them pretty much looks the same if you get an original Pepsi. But a banana, they're all just a little different, aren't they? They have the same characteristics. You know it's a banana when you look at it, but there's something just a little bit different about each banana. You know, notice how the banana fits in your hand. Is that not cool? It fits right in my hand perfectly, and it has a non-skid surface. Look, I can hang on to it. It won't fall out of my hand at all, right? And also, if you think about it, it has a time-sensitive indicator for the content inside the container. You know, if a banana is truly green, which I like the ones that are greener, if a banana's, you know, really green, you know what that's saying? Hey, give it just a little bit longer, then you can eat it. But if it's yellow, that means, come on, buddy, get you some of this. It's good. You eat that banana. And if it's black, throw that rascal in the trash because it's garbage. I'm not eating a black banana. But, you know, and then if you look at the top of it, look at this easy opening tab it puts on it, this handle to open it with. Am I going to be able to open it? There it goes. See, look, it just peels. Look at that. How easy that is. Into 4 pieces that just lay gracefully across your hand. You notice that? How neat this banana really is. And if you look at the content, and it's so good, and you can consume it, and our body will digest it. But think about the peeling of the banana. When you're done with that, what do you do with it? Well, if you throw it on the ground, wherever it's nestled on the ground, it's going to rot. And what's that going to do? It's going to make fertilize. You know, and then here's the thing. If you don't open the banana at all and you don't eat it and you put it in the ground, what happens? This banana is pre-programmed, just like your computers and other things you have. It's pre-programmed to reproduce itself. Did you know that? That is so cool because you put this in the ground and then it grows, and what's it do? It makes a virtually inexhaustible food-producing source. A banana. Have you ever thought about a banana that way? That is so cool. The fruit is the perfect size, like I said, for a human. Fits in a normal human's hand. Look at that. And it's even curved towards the face, right? For easy eating. It's accessible. Is this not cool? So here's the thing. In Psalms 19, it says the heaven declares the glory of God. I say this banana declares the glory of God. Because God designed this banana to be food for us, for humans. Is that not cool? And it broke. Everything that we... Yeah, I won't eat that, I promise you. Somebody must have wanted that banana. Somebody hungry? But anyway, everything around us proves the existence of God. It declares His existence. There's hints everywhere. You know, whoever designed this banana was a really smart person, were they not? I mean, I'm not smart enough to design something like that. And I would like to give you a verse. If your friends ever ask you, does God exist? Go to Romans 20, verse 1. Romans 1, verse 20. I have it backwards. Romans 1, verse 20. It says, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power, and His divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. This was made. Everything made is telling us about God. And it goes on to say, so that people are without excuse. There's no excuse not to believe in God. It tells us right there. If people would just stop and just look around you, every blade of grass, every tree. Parents, look at your children. If your children are in here, look at them. They're from God. God made them. and each and every one of them is special and a gift. There is a God, and He does exist. All we have to do is look around and see Him. And the third thing that I would like to point out that points to God's existence is my sense of right and wrong. Our sense of right and wrong. How many of you have watched the hearings for Judge Neil Gorsuch, for the Supreme Court? Anybody? Am I the only one that cares about that? Okay, good. I'm not the only one. Because, why do we even care who gets elected to the Supreme Court? Have you ever thought about that? Well, one reason is because we all carry within us a sense of right and wrong. A sense of that certain thing that is right, that should be done. And a sense that that thing is wrong, should not be done at all. And what we have to understand is anthropologists tell us that that's a universal phenomenon. Morals vary from person to person, from culture to culture, but everyone has morals. Now, here's an interesting fact about this. On the flip side of this, so to speak, is that how many of you in here today have ever done anything that you believed was wrong? Well, if you want to raise your hands, fine, because I'm one of them. We all have. Anthropologists also say that that is a universal phenomenon as well, easy for me to say, that people admit that they've gone against their own moral character, their own moral standards. And we all have that standard, but we all go against that standard because that standard is higher than we are. You ever think about that? Your moral standard is higher than you are. Most people who have thought about it eventually conclude that the most reasonable explanation for this moral standard is that it's not self-invented, that our moral standards come from a higher source, a higher being. And here's a verse that'll help you understand that. And you can tell your friends about that too if they ask if God is real. And it's also in Romans chapter 2, starting in verse 14, where it says, "Indeed, when Gentiles, that are us, who do not have the law, do by nature things required by the law, they are a law for themselves. Even though they do not have the law, they show that the requirements of the law are written on their hearts." You hear that? The law, God's law, the higher being's law, is written on our hearts. Their consciences also bearing witness, and their thoughts sometimes accusing them, and at other times even defending them. Now let me put a few things in perspective here. Tie some stuff together for you. The circle of contingency leads us to believe that the universe was created by a higher being. It wasn't created within this circle. It was created by something outside the circle, something ultimate, something eternal, something all-powerful. The banana shows us that this Creator is very smart. He's very loving. He's very thoughtful of His other creations and everything around Him. Because if He wasn't, He could have made a banana that was very hard to open, that was very, very foul-tasting, couldn't He? But He didn't. He created something that's beautiful and something that's useful, something that nourishes us. Our own hearts demonstrate to us that this creature's morality surpasses our own. And he wouldn't have been a creature of morals if his morals were the same as us, would he? He wouldn't be the same being. And you put all those things together and you find a creator who's eternal, powerful, smart, beautiful, loving, and full of morality. You know, that's really, really close to the working definition of God. It really is. You know, what's our alternative? Randomness, chance, circumstance. And that takes more faith than believing in God. You know, which is a more honest, intelligent conclusion? You know, I would agree that it takes more faith to believe that there's not a God than there is a God. The Bible makes two claims that there's a whole lot more, but there's at least two claims in the Bible I'm going to speak about today. In the Bible, you know, there we see in Psalms 19 where it says, the heaven declares the glory of God. But also think about this. God came to earth himself in the form of a man named Jesus. Why would he do that? Knowing when he got here, he was going to be beaten. He was going to be ridiculed. He was going to be hung on a cross. He was going to suffer an excruciating death. It's because he loves us. He loves us more than we love ourselves. Let me ask you a question. You believe in God? You believe that there's a higher power? Most of you were shaking your heads earlier. So what's keeping you from giving yourself to him, asking him to be your Lord and Savior? Is it your pride? Is it fear? Is it lack of control? Because no one wants to lose control of anything. I think the real prevalent issue here is, and the question is not, is God real? The real prevalent issue is, can I trust him? Can I trust God? You know, we're all born with the knowledge of a higher being. It's in our heart. That's that peace you don't have a lot of times. That's that feeling you have that you need something. I need it, I need it, I need it. And we all feel that hole in our heart with stuff and things, don't we? With relationships, good or bad. With houses, with cars, with all kinds of material possessions, with drugs, with alcohol. All the time we're trying to fill that hole there in our heart. But the only thing that's truly going to fill it and satisfy you and give you that peace is Jesus Christ.